Hi everyone, Kyle Cheveldayoff, Kyle for Change. So this is the video 2 of the series I'm calling All Call. And the reason that I call it an All Call series is because, and I'll share some information like this so people can get to know me, my history, because then you understand how I think and what my skills are as well as I'm running for this position of Shawnigan Lake Director. And at the same time, why I can help right now from the lens of just being an average citizen trying to push the CVRD in some ways. So I've got some ideas. And this is the all call series so that I can get it across. On the fire department, when I was with Calgary Fire, they'd have all calls that would come out. And an all call is basically the speakers would go on in every fire hall, and it would be every station at that time would get a message. And there's usually some urgency around it or some reason that it has to be disseminated so everyone understands. And so you'd quiet down, whatever you're doing, if you got if you're cleaning something or you're running a saw or something, you'd stop, you'd listen, and you'd find out what the all call is. And it's a way to get everyone up to date immediately. And I feel like I need to do some all calls right now. So this all call is going to be for two groups of people. One group is going to be just everyone and anyone that thinks, I'm interested in homestead living, or what's the potential of living in the Cowichan Valley, or could I live in an RV or tiny home? Well, what's that like? Or where's the future going on that? What's off-grid living like? Could I do that? What are the possibilities of living in rural life in the Cowichan Valley? Because I'm speaking on behalf of the Cowichan Valley and in particular of Shawnigan Lake. But some of these issues apply all the way across the CVRD. And so the all call is going to be to just the average person that lives out here or someone else that might want to move here, because this, I believe, will be the future. And also anyone that's interested in particular in homestead living, off-grid living, community living, intentional living, like whatever it may be, some way to live with the land, and you want to be somewhere where there's people in alignment with that. I'm talking to all of you as well, the farmers, all of you that live with the land, work off the land, want to be on land. Those in your 20s that might think, I want to get away from the city, or oh, is this what I want, or I need a break, I need to go on a pilgrimage for a couple of years and just live with the land and learn how to homestead and learn how to grow things. Whether it's a young family that has young kids, I've got a 6.5-year-old, and I see what she gets living on the homestead we have. Just a humble little homestead we have, but she gets to see things grow and be in the wild and hear the creatures and see the sunsets and spend so much time outside. I'm talking to all of you. I'm talking to all of you right now because I'm running for director, but I consider myself acting director right now. I consider myself, just like the fire department again, and I reference that a lot because that's the way I think. If I'm acting in a position as a senior firefighter, as a lieutenant, as a safety codes officer, whether I'm in that role or I'm acting in that role, you wear that jacket, you put on those shoes, and you take that responsibility on. And so if I'm planning, possibly, if you want for me to be in October, then I may as well be acting in that role now. And so I'm walking in those shoes more and more. And I find myself, as I'm walking in these shoes, I'm remembering my time as a safety codes officer and what that was like. And I'll talk about that in some other video, I'm sure. But I have experience in this area of enforcement. I have experience being on specialty teams where there's multiple jurisdictions going in, enforcing and communicating between different departments of what is the appropriate and best thing to do according to the situation within the bylaws and the code, and with an element of understanding humanity and the situational context of what's going on. Well, we're in a housing crisis. Everyone knows that. We're in a mental health crisis. Everyone knows that. I would say probably kind of in the beginning of that, where we're just realizing it. And I can tell you as a psychologist, I see this in many different angles, many different professions. I see a lot of burnout. I see a lot of parents stressed out with challenging children and challenging areas, and a lot of polarization of how we see things. And I even see some comments on my Facebook page and stuff around polarized ideas. This isn't about polarizing. This is about unifying. And this unification is around wanting to be free, wanting to live on the land, wanting to homestead, wanting to do what you want with your land, but do it in the right way as well. And so for all of you, I'm offering an idea. I think those of you that have been watching any of my media so far are seeing that I'm really pushing on the RV tiny home park model thing, but there's a bigger issue. And I think if I focus on the bigger issue, that might even pull in more people. And I think people will see the clarity of where I'm trying to go with this. The RV tiny home park model issue, in a way, we've won. In a way, we've won because they've acknowledged that we are right. It is year-round living. Precedent has been set already, whether you're building a home and you can stay in it for a year or more, whether it's the Nanaimo Regional District that have said, okay, if you're living in mobile homes and other designated areas, you can do it yearly. Okay, it's allowed now. So the CSA designation attached to these things is null and void. We've already bypassed those kind of building code issues. But for some reason, all the Scotch broom is popping in the background. For some reason, our directors here decided not to go a step further than submitting to UBCM to submit to the province that we need changes, which is going to take how long? The CVRD staff and directors chose not to bring anything forward more at this point, okay? And from what Kate Segal said, the chair, didn't sound like they were planning on doing it at all. So if I'm acting director, if I was one of those directors in those shoes right now, if I was in on October 18th and this came forward, what would I do? Well, I would listen to the public. I would see what the public wants. And I've already been talking to the public. I can't say I've talked to all of you, but I've talked to a lot of you. And I've talked to many of you across different areas too, not just Shawnigan Lake. And so a common theme I hear is people want to homestead. People want to live on land, whether it's an RV, a park model, building a small home, building a log cabin, whatever it might be, something affordable. I mean, who wouldn't want a big home? But most of us can't afford that right now. Everyone's been hit so hard over the years, whether COVID changed someone's life, to whether loss of job for whatever reason, divorces. I mean, I felt it myself. And we're all going through a recalibration and trying to figure out how to best get to where it is we want to be. And for many of us in the Cowichan Valley, it's homesteading and living that lifestyle with the land. And so when I listen to the people coming forward, they want this. And one aspect is kind of sharing land, because most people can't afford large parcels of land. And also a lot of places just can't subdivide their land for whatever reasons of current regulations, current zoning issues. So I propose that's something I'm going to run on. And I just had a great chat with Chris Shaw, who's also running for Cowichan Bay. And we really aligned on this. So it was nice having a chat with him and kind of seeing where he is on some things. But he really aligns. He was at the meeting today for the CVRD. He spoke as well, really great speech. And so we had a talk afterwards. And something we're really aligning on is this possibility of intentional living, of homesteads where people can share the responsibility. And I don't know how to fully manifest this, because I'm sure there's red tape issues, and the city planners and developers and this and that and writers need to get in and change things and revise things. I'm not worried about that. That's their job. What I want to do is represent you. And I've heard from many of you, and many of you want to be on land, whether you're in an RV park model, whether you're building a tiny home, whether you can subdivide and get some land and get something affordable. Well, if there was more subdivision, things would be more affordable. So let's walk that timeline. Let's plan for that timeline. I want to throw it out to people that, after listening to the public and even knowing my view on this, I think I'm very much in alignment with that. How can we do it's like doing research. How can we do some research on this? Well, you do test pilots, you do pilot studies. And our eco village is one of them. There's other intentional communities out there that could be looked at, even if they're illegal now, and use them as a model. And look at the standards out there, look at the research out there. There's all sorts of education and models already in place that give gold standards as to how we do this. It's not rocket science. And so what if we get planning groups together? What if we get committees? If I was in, I would create a committee for this. Why don't we create a committee right now? Do we have some lawyers? Do we have some planners? Do we have some people with skills? Do we have some people that have lived this way? Get the key people in place, and then other people that can support. Could we not get a committee together to actually put this together? And then it's just a matter of finding the land. Why? Let's just dream here. Provincial government wants to give funding to areas for densification, Bill 4425, and allow more homes to be built, affordable living, right? Okay, that's the city view of that. This isn't city living, this is rural living. What would we want? Well, our model of that would be communities, homesteads, subdividing so that we can, give some land to our nieces and nephews and children and plan for that ahead of time. Well, I'm proposing we do that. I'm proposing we get a committee together to look at what do people want? How do we take some polls on this? How do we get some case studies in place? How do we get some pilot projects ready that we propose to the directors? Here's our solutions, put them in place. We're not asking for anything more than is already happening in different parts of the world, and a lot of them very successful. How do we get that in place now? And if they don't want to listen to us, then when I get in October and other people get in that are on these committees that are wanting this to go forward, then we'll implement it then. I think the vast majority of people would want this across the Cowichan Valley, especially if they know there's going to be rules around it. Let's just say hypothetically, there's a group that comes in. I mean, I forget the name, Elk Ridge. There's a group up north, and I haven't seen the land yet. I really want to. David Solomon, I believe is his name. I'll put a link if I remember. And he's got a huge project going on, and I don't even know who's involved. I haven't seen it. I really don't know much about it, but I would like to because it's interesting. And it sounds like it's been 10 years in the making. So that could be a model of a larger project. Well, why couldn't there be another model with, I don't know, a family that comes forward and wants to have 8 houses on 20 acres? Okay, maybe that's a model that could happen. Why couldn't we have the city planners look at that and have even some templates for 5 acres, 15 acres, 50 acres, 150 acres, and have some kind of general templates around how that looks. As people submit these plans, we have more templates to work from. All of this would be extremely environmentally friendly, so in touch with the land. People growing food would allow less stress to be on other areas of transportation and all the fuel charges around that. It would be incredibly green in a practical sort of way. So I think this is information I want to put out there because the door right now is open after today's meeting where they are proposing to the UBCM, the Union of BC Municipalities, which is kind of the organization that then talks to the BC government for changes. Why could we not inform them of this too? If they're going to put that proposal into UBCM, put this one in too, and then even ask for them to implement it now. Why could they not subdivide some land? Why could planners not allow the subdivision of some lands to be an intentional community? Why not? Why could that not be a solution? So I want to dream with some people to bring forward some ideas. I still want to push forward with this tiny home issue. I still think that they should pause this, and I think we can push them hard enough. It's going to be pressure. It's the pressure we put on them right now. That's how they went back on bylaw 4632 and bylaw 4710, and then the OCP they rescinded or repealed. They did that because of public pressure. So if we can just start getting our groups together, we're going to get riled up. We're going to get passionate. We're going to feel the energy. And instead of just complaining and feeling like they're not listening to us, kind of like today, although the speeches were amazing. Really, I'm so proud of everyone that spoke and everyone that supported us as we were there. And the energy afterwards was great. We need to keep that going. And I think just going there and complaining, that's what it feels like for me sometimes. I feel like I'm just complaining sometimes, even though I'm saying good things. And it's like the same thing over and over. Let's take the reins. Let's get the groups together. Let's get the professionals together that can do this. And the people that are invested or just want to support with their time and efforts. I'm doing all this stuff for free. I'm happy to be on more committees and work with more people. I think this is that important for my daughter, for my future, for my friends, for the people I know that were speaking today that are all struggling in so many ways. They don't need to be. We don't need to be. We can fix this. We can come forward with the ideas. We can harmonize our thoughts, whether left or right or blue or green. It doesn't matter. Unless you're too polarized, this might not work for you. But it has to be people that want to meet in the middle and want to see that unison and understanding of each other is the biggest factor right now. If we can come together and do that, we could create some beautiful projects, submit that, either get it approved now or wait until October and then it's fast tracked because we've actually got so many things in place. So I'll close this down with offering anyone watching this to share it to the teens that might be interested, to the young families that want a homestead, to those interested in moving to BC or possibly thinking of leaving BC, because the numbers I've heard of people leaving BC is just, it's sad. It's sad. We need to change something. what's that? One of those definitions of insanity, doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result. You know, we have to do something different right now. And this is something that would be so complementary to the land, harmonious for many people, complementary, share our skills, include diverse ages, because who wouldn't want to, as a single dad with a 6.5-year-old, I want elders around. I want her to have this whole spectrum. You know, her favorite show is Little House on the Prairie and the Waltons. And on the Waltons, she's just amazed with how big the family is and the grandpas that are around, and they love it. Kids love this. So this is really bringing back the way we used to live as well, and the larger family dynamic. And then sometimes the other stuff, it's not so important. The polarized stuff we see online, when we actually see the big picture of unity and working together. So I invite everyone to share this, to like, subscribe. You know, I hope this grows. I really hope this message resonates with people. I'm fired up right now. If you're fired up, please leave some comments, share this, like, subscribe, get it out there, show it to teens. You know, I'll leave you with this. What are we at? 16 minutes. Whoever's made it to the end, thank you. Share this with others that you might know that this would relate to. We have 23, 24, 25% turnout at these elections. So that's a minority of the population. If these videos could reach 25% of the population that resonate with what I'm saying, and they came out to vote, this would happen. So if this is important to you, I ask you to get engaged, to talk about this, to share, to comment, and the themes that I see in the comments, I'll bring forward in future videos. And I think if we can get excited about this and see this as a possibility, I mean, this is what the Cowichan Valley is. That's what we do. We grow stuff and homestead and farm, and we're told that we can't in some ways. And we can do this, and we could make this so incredibly exciting that the next 4 months until the election comes could be us planning, and maybe the CVRD directors going, oh my God, like this is where we need to go to. And some of them, you know, agreeing and maybe implementing this before then in some manner. But it's only 4 months away. And then we could really implement it in October. I will find a way with the people that align with me. If there's enough of us, we will make this happen. And I think I'm going to see a lot of people that are running align with this too. So I'm hopeful anyways. So I'll leave you with that, and I'm sure there'll be some more videos from there. So stay tuned.